Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are joining me on the planet. My name is June Allen from juneallen.net, and I teach Black women how to heal from the impact of racism with racial sobriety and revolutionary self-love. So thank you for joining me today. Let me just adjust things a little bit. I hope that's all right. You see me all right? Okay, so I'm dual broadcasting at the moment. Yeah, so today's topic, I just wanted to keep it really, really nice and simple. Sometimes it's nice to go back to basics and not go in too deep, because I know I love those deep conversations. But today, I wanted to keep it really, really simple and just share 3 simple things that are really essential for you to do on a daily basis in order to maintain your racial wellness. Now, I shared these 3 things at an event that I did last week, the African Health and Wellbeing Day, which was really powerful. And I shared these 3 things at the end of the session because they were talking a lot about policy and a lot of the external stuff around racism. But I felt that sharing these 3 essentials was really, really helpful. And I did get quite a lot of good feedback afterwards. They were like, oh my God, I'm so glad that you shared that. Because sometimes it can feel quite overwhelming when you think about, tackling racism, whether it's external or internal. It's really difficult. So sharing these 3 things was actually really helpful to a lot of people. So I'm going to share it today. So for those of you that weren't able to attend the African Health and Wellbeing Day, I'm going to share it on today. And obviously I'll be able to go into a lot more detail as well because we've got more time, because I was obviously constricted by time at the African Health and Wellbeing Day. So that's what today's topic is all about. Now, before I actually get into the content, as always, I have some housekeeping I'm going to share with you. So the first thing that I want to share is that Self-Love Rehab is now open. Self-Love Rehab is now open. So what is Self-Love Rehab? Self-Love Rehab is a new course that I've just opened, a 12-week course, and I am absolutely loving it. I'm absolutely loving creating the content. I'm loving just, hearing people kind of share back their experience, what they're learning, all of that kind of stuff. I love teaching. I absolutely love teaching. So Self-Love Rehab basically is a 12-week course that is for people that are either completely starting their journey from scratch, or maybe they've already started their journey. You might be in recovery, you might be in, you will already be seeing a therapist or something like that, but you just want some anchoring and understanding of what it means around the cultural aspect of it. Hi, hello, thanks for joining. Just around the cultural context of it. You want some more explanations as to around racism and how it's impacted you as a person and stuff like that. So the course is very much focused on going back to basics, and this course is actually going to be the foundational part of, I haven't told anyone this yet, so you're the first ones to know. I'm actually going to be doing, I'm going to be opening a mastermind later on. It might even be later on in the year, but possibly the beginning of next year. I haven't decided yet. It depends on how much content and stuff I get done. But I'm going to be opening up a mastermind, a monthly mastermind for people to join, because one of the things that I've learned about doing this work is that, obviously living under the system of racism, the stress of living under that is cyclical, meaning it's ongoing. As long as white supremacy is alive, then our oppression is something that we experience on a daily basis. So therefore, people are looking for solutions. People are looking for a relief. They want a safe space to be able to talk about this stuff, to be able to process it. And so instead of kind of doing, separate courses or separate things, which I will continue to do that as well anyway, if people just want to dip their toe into what I'm doing. But I think the people that have been following me for a long time, that I've been working with for a long time, they want something that's quite consistent. So they've got a consistent place where they can come and share and heal, and actually do the internal work, the people that actually want to go a lot deeper in their work. So I'm going to be setting up, obviously we've got Self-Love Rehab there now, and at the moment the price that it's on is absolutely ridiculous price, because 12 weeks for the money what I'm charging is just insane. But because it's a new course, and because I'm going to be using it as a kind of beta version, which is, you know, essentially the first version of the course. And the people that are in the course are going to get an opportunity to give me feedback and stuff like that, so that I can shift it up and change it up and make it better all the time for you. So you get to be part of that conversation. Now, obviously, the benefit for you is that you get the course at an insane price. And also you get access to all of the updates and stuff like that as well, because obviously you've got access to that particular course for life. So that's really, really good. So yeah, and that's going to be part of, obviously, the mastermind when it opens. It's going to be the first section, the roadmap, if you want to call it that, for the mastermind. And obviously the people that are in the course now will also get access to the mastermind at a grandfathered in price. Now, what I mean by that is you'll get it cheaper than everybody else, because you obviously started the journey earlier, and that price is going to be grandfathered in for a specific amount of time as well. So yeah, so if you are interested in joining Self-Love Rehab, if you've either begun your journey or you're starting at the beginning and you really want a safe place to begin to start to do this internal work, then join Self-Love Rehab. If you click the link in the bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. I look forward to seeing you then. Right, so the second thing on the housekeeping is the Garnet Trip. So in November, my business partner and I, Faith the Google, are going to be taking a trip to Ghana, and we're taking 6 ladies from either the UK or the States from my side, or 6 ladies from her ladies in Australia. So we're going to be doing this retreat in Ghana because it's all going to be about return to self. And this is really, really quite precious, because it's in alignment. We didn't plan this, but the Ghanaian government this year are doing this whole thing around it's the anniversary. It's the anniversary of 400 years since our ancestors were taken from the shores of Africa. So basically, they've got this thing on at the moment about it's called Year of Return, where they're giving people an opportunity. Basically, they're calling people in the African diaspora, wherever you are in the world, to come home. So I find it it's really beautiful. Hi, thanks for joining. It's really beautiful that Faith and I have decided to set up this Garnet Trip in alignment with what the Ghanaian government done. It just feels like the right time. So the title on the theme of the retreat is called Return to Self. So we are going to be looking at, you know, who we are as Black women, how do we take our position in the world, how do we show up in our families and all of that kind of stuff. And then we'll also have the opportunity, we're going to be do some tours and stuff like that. Yeah, it's going to be a really, really beautiful experience. So if you're interested in coming to Ghana, click the link in the bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. So that's the bit of the housekeeping. The other thing that I wanted to share, just the last thing, is that as part of this live stream, if you know somebody who is interested in what the topic is today, the topic is all about 3 essentials for racial wellness. 3 essentials for racial wellness. If you know somebody that's interested in this topic, then please share it with them, tag them, let them know that there is hope, that there are things that you can do to take care of yourself. The second thing is, if you don't understand anything that I'm talking about and you need support around it, then please send me a direct message. If you don't feel comfortable, to drop it in the comments below. And the third thing is, if you have an aha moment during the live stream, then send me a direct message or email me, or let me know, because it's important that I know that what I'm adding is value, that I'm giving away things to you for you to be able to maintain your sense of self, maintain your wellness, build your confidence, all of that good stuff. So let me know. Right, so that's all the housekeeping out of the way. So for those of you that have just joined, my name is June Allen from juneallen.net, and I teach Black women how to heal from the impact of racism with racial sobriety and revolutionary self-love. So let's get into the content. So today's topic is all about essentials for racial wellness. Essentials for racial wellness, 3 of them. So the first thing, which is really important, is 3 R's. I'm going to share with you 3 R's. Okay, the first one is release. Now, release is really important because under the system of racism, consciously or unconsciously, we're going to absorb stuff. We're going to absorb things about ourselves that aren't true. We're going to absorb things about ourselves that just living under this system is constantly happening, whether you're walking on the streets, through advertising on the tube, or whether you're watching TV, or whether you're watching stuff on social media. There's so many different ways that racism impacts our lives. And if you understand Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's work, she was an amazing scholar. She's an ancestor now, bless her, psychotherapist as well. She talked to her and her mentor, Neely Fuller. They talk about the 9 areas of people activity where we ingest all racism. So it's economics, education, entertainment, labour, law, politics, religion, sex and more. Those of you that are already in self-love rehab, I am going to be going through all of this stuff in a lot more depth. So you get a lot more of an understanding as to what racism is, how it impacts your life, the behaviours and stuff that you take on as part of the survival as a result of the impact of racism. So if you are interested in learning more about racism and how it's impacted, not just the external part of it, but the internal part of it, then obviously you need to come into self-love rehab. But the whole thing around understanding racism, it's not just understanding it externally, but understanding how it impacts you internally. And then you have to have processes on a daily basis, or tools on a daily basis, that are going to help you release the stress of what that means. Now, what do I mean when I say release? Okay, so there are different types of release. There can be an emotional release. So that could be seeing a therapist, or having a conversation with somebody that you trust about the stress that you're feeling, or something that you saw on social media that you're upset about. It could be that's a verbal release. You can have a written release. You could choose to, if you're angry about something or feeling upset about whatever ever happened, maybe you had microaggressions at work or whatever it is, you're actually writing that stuff down in your journal. Again, these are all techniques and stuff that I'm going into a lot more detail in self-love rehab about how to process this stuff. There's the journal prompts and stuff like that people are going to use, that I share with people. I share with the people in the course to how to write this stuff out. So we've got verbal release, we've got written release, physical release. Physical release could be going to the gym. It can be beating pillows if you're really angry. It can be just going for a walk. It might be that you need to be out in nature and stuff like that. So those are just different ways that you're going to release the stress. Now, you have to be intentional about what that is, about what that release is, because if you just go through your day and just do these things without thinking, okay, if I had my release today, be intentional about it. If you journal every day, make a point of actually putting those 3 things in. How am I going to release today? How am I going to, obviously I'll go through the other 2 in a minute, but what am I going to do today in order to release the stress of what it means? So that's the first R, is release. The second R is to reflect. Okay, now once you've actually released a lot of the stuff out of your system, so you understand that how you feel, in the sense that you understand that something's triggered you, understanding your triggers, and then you've released that, then you have to be able to reflect on what that was really about. The first thing that happens to us is the trigger. It's the emotion that comes up, the anger, the rage, the shame, whatever it is. And then once you've discharged that out of your body, you've released that out of your body, out of your psyche, however you choose to do it, then it's important to reflect on what that trigger was about. What was underneath it? Who triggered you? Why do you think you were triggered by it? Was it something that happened in the now, or was it something that happened in the past? Or is it something that you're afraid is going to happen in the future, that you're trying to control and manage and all the rest of it? To be able to reflect on whatever's going on, whether it's racism, or whether it's a family member, or whether it's a friend, or whatever it is, it's important for you to reflect on those things, to be able to reflect. And this is where the self-knowledge comes in. Self-knowledge is not just about pyramids. Okay, I've been having this conversation a lot recently. Self-knowledge is not just about pyramids and history. That's part of the conversation. But authentic, true self-knowledge is about emotional intelligence, understanding who you are as a black person, understanding who you are as a human being, understanding your emotion. This particular live stream is actually going to be in alignment with the next module that I'm going to be doing, which is going to be all about self-awareness specifically. And I'm going to be talking about triggers. I'm going to be talking about feelings. I'm going to be talking about needs. What exactly are they? Why are they important? Why is it that black people find it so hard to connect with that part of themselves? Why is it that we find it so hard to sit with our feelings and actually own our needs in ourselves or other people? We tend to shut each other down. We tell each other, don't be so emotional, why are you being so sensitive? All of these things that are kind of passive aggressive ways of saying, the subtext is, I can't handle your emotion, I can't handle your feeling, I can't handle who you are as a human being because I'm so disconnected from my own feelings, so I can't allow you to experience yours because that means that I'm going to have to feel. That's the subtext around a lot of that conversation. So in order to reflect, you have to be in a position to be able to share this stuff, not just with yourself from a place of truth, but to be able to reflect with somebody else. It might be that somebody else who you can talk to, whether it's your therapist or whatever, is going to help you to unpick what the trigger is. It's going to help you to unpick why you're upset. Because a lot of times we can be upset about things and it's not really the thing that we're upset about in the now that we're really upset about. It may be that it's something historical that's triggered it. There's something that we say in quite a lot in the recovery rooms, actually, as part of my recovery journey. I've heard this said a lot. They say that if you're hysterical about something, it's more likely to be historical. If you're hysterical about something, it's more likely that it's historical. Okay, so that means that what you're angry about, so if you're angry about something and you're really it's coming out in a rage, it's more likely that it's not really about what you're angry about in the now. It's something else in the past that's unresolved, unhealed, unheard, that is being triggered by whatever that thing is in the future. So to be able to have a sacred space, to be able to really think about those things, is it something that's in the now or is it something that's in the past? That's what real self-knowledge is about. And that's how you really get to know yourself. And that's what self-love is. Self-love is about being able to understand who you are as a human being, being able to understand who you are as a black woman, and not apologize for it and not shame yourself for it and not judge yourself for it, but to just accept that who you're being in this moment is part of being human. Is part of being human, and to not judge yourself for feeling or being a certain way, but to use it as an opportunity to learn about who you are, to use it as an opportunity to take care of yourself, because essentially self-love is about learning how to be your inner ally. Before we go looking for anybody else to take care of us or to look after us or to stick up for us, are you showing up for yourself? It's about having that conversation around, are you really showing up for yourself and not looking externally? And a lot of us are in that position because, we weren't taken care of as children. We weren't taken care of an emotion. We may well have had food and a place to sleep and all the rest of it, but where did your family and your parents really show up for you emotionally? I hear this conversation so much from people in our community where, their parents were there for them in terms of, physically, and they had shoes and clothes and food and all the rest of it, all the basic stuff. But when it comes to getting their emotional needs met, when it comes to parents being present, when it comes to parents being able to show compassion and empathy and to honour their humanity as separate human beings, those conversations are what seems to be missing. So when you have a space to be able to reflect on not just who you are, but where you are in the now, that's how you can begin to start to understand what your needs are and to be able to understand how to ask for those needs and where to go to get help, And this is one of the reasons why, I have there's going to be sort of fortnightly soul sessions that happen in self-love rehab. And those are sessions where, the people in the course come together and we get to share about different things. We get to share on different topics. We get to share on where you are in the now. And that identification, that reflection, that self-reflection, when somebody else witnesses that in a safe space is so incredibly powerful. Because 9 times out of 10, I hear from so many people that they're doing a lot of this work by themselves. And as soon as they get into a space where you're able to talk to other people that are doing the same work, the light bulb starts going off because people identify. There's a relief in understanding that they're not the only one. There's a relief in understanding that somebody else feels the same way as they do. And they've got tools That's how you start to build trust. That's how you start to really start to build community. That's how you build sisterhood, by having a space where you can, somebody else is witnessing your struggle, somebody else is witnessing your journey. And we're not witnessing each other's journey from a space of victimhood. We witness it from a place of empowerment. It's witnessed from a place of empowerment. It's witnessed from a place of transformation, so that whatever you're going through, whatever you're experiencing on a daily basis, that there are solutions and there are tools which you can use to work through those issues and make your life better. That is what self-love rehab and the work that I do is about. I don't come on here and complain about white people. I don't come on here and complain about about wanting them to change, thinking that you have to go out and try and get them to change. It's not about getting them to change. The primary focus of reflection when it comes to racial wellness is to understand racism, to understand how it's impacted your well-being, and then to take action on how you can take care of yourself, whatever that looks like. That's what reflection is about. So that's the second R. The third R is kind of linked into what I was just saying, is renewal. Renewal. Okay? So we renew, and that comes with self-nurturing. That comes with self-nurturing. So renewal is all about being your own inner ally, being your best friend, being your inner parent, understanding that there are certain responsibilities that you have to yourself in terms of your racial wellness that you can't get from anybody else. Even if you do go to therapy, even if you are in recovery, you can go to recovery and you can go to your therapist or your mentor or whatever. Those people can only do a certain amount for you. They're there to listen, they're there to hear you, they're there to reflect, they're there to make suggestions. But ultimately, it's going to be down to you to do the work when you leave that therapy room or when you leave that recovery meeting or whatever it is. You're going to come home, and at the end of the day, it's down to you to start doing that work, to process what you've learned and to do the renewal work. So that means taking care of yourself when you feel triggered. That means scheduling your sacred sister time on a daily basis so that you can build an intimate relationship with yourself. A lot of us don't have an intimate relationship with ourselves because we don't know how to do it. We've never been allowed to do it. We've never been allowed to do it because under the system of racism, our only job under the system of racism is to not talk about racism. That is our job under the system of racism. That's what the system wants us to do, to not talk about it, not talk to each other about it, hold on to our pain, not express it, not understand racism. Just don't talk about it. Just whatever we need to do is just is enable it by maintaining it, and that means not talking about the system of racism. Okay, so and also definitely not taking care of ourselves. If we start talking about our pain and start talking about how we've internalized racism and all of that kind of stuff, then it means that we are going to start taking steps to heal it. We are going to start taking steps to heal it, because once you understand something, you can't take it back. Once you understand something, you can't take it back. So that means that when you start to renew who you are and you start to renew yourself, that means that you are going to have a different relationship with yourself. It's going to impact your relationship with your children. It's going to impact your relationship with your partner, with your family. Even if those family members are not in recovery, you're going to learn that actually I can't have this type of relationship with those people anymore. Let's have a look at some of the notes. I've just broken up with my partner in June. Your talks are like a source of support right now. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, Shari. Is that Shari, if I pronounced that correctly? Shari? You're welcome. It's so important to do this work. So you're going to find this. I know you came in sort of halfway through. So if you go back to the beginning of this broadcast, when I end it, then you'll get the other bits as well. So there's 3 R's that I'm sharing today. And these are important things for daily wellness, racial wellness. And so, the last thing that I was talking about was all about renewal. And this is really, really important, because like I was saying before, a lot of us don't know how to take care of ourselves. A lot of us don't know how to nurture ourselves. So to be in a position where you've got a list of tools that you can refer to, you've got a list of tools that you can reference when you're feeling terrible, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling triggered by all the stuff. There's so much stuff in the news at the moment around Donald Trump has been spitting race. I mean, he's been racist from day one anyway. But the fact that he's kind of being more open about it and getting more bold, he's actually emboldening a lot of other people as well to behave in that way, But I think it's important to remember as well around, and this is important. This is an important part of the reflection bit that I was talking about earlier, is that racism is projection. Okay, racism is projection. Now let me define projection for you. Projection is when somebody is feeling upset about something. Okay, and they're not they don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to own whatever that thing is and take responsibility for it. So what they do is they vomit that stuff on other people. Yeah. So if you understand Dr. Welsing's work, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's work, her work explains that racism is about white people's fear of extinction. Now, just to go into a little bit of detail about it, so I won't go into too much detail about it because obviously I don't want to, I can't go into too much detail about it today. But essentially, more white people are dying quicker than they are having children. So what that means is, if white people continue going the way that they're going to be extinct within the next few generations. So that's the reason why racism is getting more violent, it's getting more aggressive, all of these things are happening. So when you see white people that are consciously or unconsciously, whatever it is, the subtext, the unconscious psychology of racism is, I'm scared that I'm going to be extinct. It's a survival behaviour. So these extremists like Donald Trump or whatever that are behaving in this way, they're behaving in this way. Underneath that, they're scared that they're going to be extinct in the next few generations. So what they do is they have so much self-hatred because of what is going on around them, there's the fear of them being extinct. That self-hatred is vomited onto the people that are a threat to their extinction, i.e. black people. Because when black people, if black people have babies with white people, okay, then a lot of times the baby comes out black. Use Barack Obama as an example, okay? He's got a white mum, black dad, but he's a black man, okay? So if that's why these extremists are so anti-race, so not anti-racist, us mixing, race mixing and all the rest of it, it's for that reason. It's because they think they're going to be extinct. So you got to understand, when you understand the psychology of racism, there's a lot less chance that you're going to get triggered by it. There's a lot, as I said, I'm going to go into this in so much more detail, and we're going to study some of Dr. Welsing's work as well inside the Self-Love Rehab course. So you get so much more of a depth and understanding as to her work, her theories, all that kind of stuff. So if you haven't joined already the Self-Love Rehab course, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. So those are the 3 R's, okay, that you need for daily racial wellness. I want to go through again really quickly. The first one is to release. You've got to remember that racism and oppression is cyclical. It's daily. It's happening all the time. Whether it's microaggression, whether it's overt aggression or covert aggression, whatever it is, it happens all the time, right? At the moment, we're experiencing oppression and racism all the time. You leave your house and you go down the tube, all you see is white people, you see black people, you know what I'm saying. So you need to have a space to be able to release all of that, because when you see that stuff going on all the time, whether it's social media or whether you're going about your business during the day, you need a space to be able to release that stuff. Okay, so that's the first one, release. The second one is reflect. Once you've released that stuff out of your body, out of your psyche, then you need to reflect on what the trigger was about, what was underneath it. Is it something that was upsetting you in the moment, or is it historical? Okay, because if you're hysterical, it's more likely to be historical. The third thing is renew. Okay, and that means that after you've kind of discharged all the stuff out of your body and you understand why you feel the way you feel, then you have to replenish yourself. Okay, so I could use that instead of renew, actually, is replenish. You replenish your goodness, you replenish your deliciousness, and you do that by using certain tools. And that could be, something as simple as having a really nice cup of green tea in my favorite mug, or I've just come from an amazing hot yoga session this morning, and I nearly missed doing the session today because I was so relaxed. I came up from the session, I just went and had a really nice little nap. That is replenishment. That's renewal. Because, and the fact that I was doing the yoga, I can hold a lot of tension in my body. I can hold a lot of tension and stress in my body from not just the top, because I talk about topics that are quite full on, and just experiencing, the stuff that I read and stuff like the stuff that I see on social media. It can be distressing, and hearing people like Donald Trump talk about rubbish, talk about his own bigotry and whatever. That stuff creates stress. So to renew is to take responsibility and be intentional for that stuff. I understand that I absorb a lot of this stuff still. So going to do something like hot yoga really makes me feel stressed, really makes me feel, it releases stress. It helps me to really get back present inside my body. And it just creates a really, a lovely sense of well-being, and I feel rested. I feel more present. I'm able to come on here and do this live stream from a real sense of peace and conviction and love. I can express the love for you all in wanting you to get well and to take, empower yourselves, because I feel it. It's important for me to also practice what I preach. So I still have therapy. I still do all the things that I need to do. I don't ask any of my students to do anything that I'm not doing. I always take part in those things, because at the end of the day, it's important for me to set an example for doing this work. And I want to be able to talk from a space of experience, not just something that I read in a book or I heard somebody else talking about it on a podcast. I want to be able to share with you how to empower yourself as a black woman or black person under the system of racism from a place of experience. So that is really, really important. So those are the 3 things that I have for you today. So that's it. So if you know somebody who is struggling with their racial wellness or just wellness in general, and you think would benefit from this live stream, then please share it with them. If you found it valuable, then I'd really love for you to drop something in the comments or send me a message if you don't feel comfortable to actually drop it below. If you are interested in joining Self-Love Rehab, you can click the link in the bio. Go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. I am at the moment taking doing one-on-one sessions at the moment. So if you click the link in the bio, you can sign up. There is a free pre-clarity experience that you can go through, and then obviously if you're happy with the questions and stuff that are in there, then obviously we can do an introductory session where we have a look at your racial wellness situation, and we just take it from there to see if I'm a good fit or whatever. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I don't take for granted that you sit and spend time with me. And if there's any other questions or whatever, you can email me info@yardofgreatness.com, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining, and I will see you again. All right, take care. Bye bye.